Welcome to the Empower Network webinar with Susan Swift, as she talks about branding with her presentation, What's Your Story? 5 Essentials to Create a Great Brand. Before we get started, just a few accessibility notes. First, closed captioning and a transcript of the presentation are available if needed. The slides and handouts are linked in the Discord channel for Empower Network members. Please let us know if you have any accessibility challenges. We will do our best to accommodate them in future webinars. And a little disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed in this webinar are those of the speaker only and do not necessarily reflect the official position or policy of the Empower Network. Speakers participate in their own individual capacity as representatives of their own businesses or organizations. We are incredibly grateful for the generous donation of their time and expertise to support our organization and our members. This webinar is sponsored by Verizon Digital Ready, a platform designed to support small business owners learn critical business skills at their own pace. Participants in the platform have opportunities to apply for grants throughout the year. 50 participating small businesses will be selected to receive a $10,000 grant for this round. Applications will close on December 10th, 2025. Please use the QR code on your screen or the link to sign up today and start learning. And lastly, the content of this webinar is for informational purposes only. Please reach out to the appropriate licensed professionals in your area if you need professional assistance.
Well, thank you, Stephanie, and thank you to the Empower Network for inviting me in. And thanks for everyone who's joining us here today for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to this topic that's near and dear to my heart. And I hope that by the end of this presentation, that you understand and see for yourself that you don't have to be famous or flashy or go viral or spend a fortune to brand yourself. Sometimes the difference between a successful brand and an unsuccessful one just has to do with following the basics that I'm going to be showing you here today. So if you're like me, you like to know how things will break down. So here is our agenda. I'll give a definition of what branding is and is not, talk about why I think it matters, show you a good example, and then we're into the meat of the program, the 5 essentials. And then last but not least, I want to have you walk away with 3 to 4 things you could do today, this week, to up your own brand presence. I'll also be giving you, I don't know if Stephanie's already sent it out or she'll be doing it at the end of this, but you'll be receiving a worksheet if you want to be doing a deeper dive into branding yourself, or if you're new to this topic and you need a little extra support, you'll be getting that as well. And then we'll end with some Q&A, or depending on how people are feeling, we can do one of the actions together from the end of the webinar, but I'll let you guys tell me how you're feeling. All right. So why does branding matter? Well, it wouldn't be a webinar if we didn't have a data point. So here it is. 70% of buying decisions are influenced by how a brand makes us feel. People don't buy from businesses. They buy from brands they trust, remember, and feel connected to. And in a crowded marketplace, branding isn't fluff. It's a business asset. So how do we get there? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I like to explain it this way. If your brand is the gut feeling that people have about your business. It's emotional, it's instinctive, and it happens whether you're actively managing it or not. So why not actively manage it? And here's an example for you to consider. Apple isn't just selling electronics. People line up for a new iPhone, not just for the new features, but because it feels like being part of something sleek, smart, and ahead of the curve. And likewise, someone might choose Samsung because it makes them feel empowered, smart, and in control, and not just following the crowd. Either way, I want you to notice that it's an emotional appeal. It's not just a practical decision. And then a quick survey, if you want to drop into the chat. What was the first brand you remember falling for or having an emotional pull toward? see what we get here. And I'm thinking early days, like Kellogg. Do we have any Kellogg people or Lego? Let's see what we get. Apple, we're getting Apple. Sounds good. Anybody else? Okay. I just wanted you to think about it. For me, it was definitely Universal Studios. The minute my parents would put on a film and I saw that spinning globe, I knew we weren't just going to watch TV. We got to watch a movie. As well as Kellogg. I was a Kellogg kid. So when I was a kid, I thought that brand meant the label, Levi's, Coke, United, etc. But now we're becoming more and more aware in the age of personal brand that a brand is so much more than the logo. Your brand is built through four things: what you show, your logo, your colors, website, social media visuals, and your product if you have a physical product. What you say, your messaging, your voice, your tone, the very words you choose, and how you behave, how you treat customers, respond to emails, how you answer the phone. And finally, and probably foundationally the most important, what you stand for, your values, your purpose, your mission, vision, and the story behind your business. When these four things align and consistently reinforce each other, you build a strong, memorable brand. And we're going to go deeper into these in the next section, but I just want you to keep these in the back of your mind. So because they're connected, I also want to call out what branding is and isn't. Branding and marketing work together, and there are blurry subtleties that we can argue, but my hope is that you walk away today with a sense of a definition of branding, why it matters, and some things you can do today to start to elevate your own brand. If nothing else, I want you to get that branding is your why, your passion, the value you create in the world, and that it is long term. This is not a quick, I did my branding today, it's done. It is a long term process and practice. Okay, now to ground that and for fun and to give you a break from my voice, I'm going to show you a quick example of a company's origin story video. Now it's part of a marketing campaign and it has high production values, but don't be put off by that. Focus on what they are showing, what they are saying, what they stand for, and how they're behaving as much as you can tell in a 30-second video. And then if you want, drop your thoughts into the chat box if you have any. But particularly, I'm interested if folks notice their why. Why did this company create themselves? All right, here we go.
Ever wondered what's inside your toothbrush? We did. We found outdated design, a lot of plastic, and not much else. At Siri, we believe less is more. Thoughtfully redesigned from top to toe, stripped back and minimal, built from recyclable aluminium so it feels good in your hand and looks good in your bathroom. We got rid of gimmicks and pointless features to give you 40+ day battery life that will take you anywhere without a charger. And inside, our powerful, whisper-quiet sonic motor will give you a dentist-proof clean and a confident smile. Above all, Siri is created with sustainability at heart. Our plant-based heads can be recycled, and our repairable design means we can fix your Siri for years to come. Siri is the last toothbrush you will ever own.
So let me know. I'll try and pay attention to the chat. Let me know if you have any thoughts. But you get from the first frame their purpose, and they bake it right into their origin story. What's their why? To improve the electric toothbrush, right? It's that simple. Their values, they looked at the toothbrush industry and said, can we improve it and make it less wasteful and better for the environment, right? Their tone and voice, they show pictures of nature, people in nature, a dentist backing them up, which kind of lends credibility. Their colors, kind of an elegant, sleek design, uncluttered. The music, that little backdrop music is kind of modern, but also very simple. Their website, their packaging, everything backs this up. Very consistent, simple, earth-friendly, renewable. And then they end with the last toothbrush you'll ever own, which is backing up their behavior. If it breaks, if it falls apart, you send it in, they fix it. So they're keeping everything aligned. So I just wanted to show you that as an example of how successfully you can make everything aligned, showing, telling, behaving. All right, just for fun. Okay, did I miss anything? Did anybody have any comments? Okay, moving on. We'll return to this topic. They'll come up again. So the good stuff. You know what a brand is built from, but how do you get there? There are 5 things I believe every small business or personal brand needs to focus on when it comes to branding. If you get these right, you'll save yourself time, money, a lot of frustration, and they all link back to what we just showed to get alignment: showing, telling, behaving, and standing for. So first up, clarity. And I can't stress this enough. If you have to be clear about who you are as a business and who you serve. If you run a catering business and say, I do food for everyone, that's not a brand, that's a menu. But if you say, I specialize in plant-based, locally sourced catering for small weddings and events, now you have a brand that people can remember, recommend, and connect with. Brand identity and clarity answers 2 questions. What makes you different? And why should people choose you over someone else? But at the bottom of all this, clarity comes from knowing your why. Why am I doing this? Why does this matter to me? Why am I passionate about this? Why this and not something else? Why am I doing this and not working over at McDonald's? Know thyself, right? To name something is to give it power. It makes it real. So when you name the thing that is your purpose, you step into the world in a new way. And that can be both scary and empowering. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be leaving you with that worksheet. And so if this is scary, if this is all new to you, hopefully that worksheet kind of helps you dig into that and is a kind of a helping hand. Okay, next. Consistency. Your brand should look, sound, and feel the same no matter where people interact with you. Whether it's your Instagram, your business card, your website, or how you answer the phone. If you're light and friendly on Instagram, don't go all corporate-y stiff on your website, right? And now here I'm giving you some good classic font suggestions, depending on if you're on a Mac or PC. Just please stay away from Comic Sans or Papyrus. They make you look unprofessional. Otherwise, have fun. When your brand is consistent, you build recognition and trust. When it's not, you confuse people, and a confused customer doesn't buy. And by buying, I don't just mean monetarily. I mean, they don't buy into what you're putting out in the world, right? Continuing on, for color, appropriately called color psychology. Now, this entails that specific colors evoke emotions to viewers. It's the reason why most banks use the color blue in their branding to evoke trust. and why fast food restaurants tend towards reds and yellows to stimulate appetite and urgency. My advice, look at your industry to get a range, look at your competitors, try not to have exactly the same look and feel as them, choose colors and fonts that are within your industry that you like, right? As a coach, if they make you feel confident and they represent your product or service, that is much more important than if they're in style this year or if they fit on the wheel in the right place. For photography or illustrations, same thing. Try to have a consistent style. You can have a range of shots, close-ups, people, places, but try to keep the quality consistent. It's better to have one good photo than 5 crappy ones. You are telegraphing that you know what you're doing. You are the professional, right? Now, since I went down this path of talking about fonts, colors, and design, I'm also including one slide in the deck that contains both resources where you can get color palettes for free or purchase royalty-free photos, illustrations, etc. But also for your inner creative, other sites on this list invite you to be inspired. And when you're creating, it's always good to be inspired. So I'll leave this in the deck and I'll move on, but just know that you have this as a resource, okay? All right, first example time. Now this one is a mixed example of success because none of us is perfect, right? And we are all works in progress. And it kind of echoes this theme for me of progress. Branding is long-term. It's never a one and done. We're always working on it. So I've added in Dr. Frost, who calls herself a healthy work-life balance advocate. And you're seeing her website on the left and her LinkedIn cover on the right. My critique is that she's inconsistent from her website presence to her LinkedIn presence as far as her brand goes. She's got a lot of fonts and looks from her website and LinkedIn, and this really cool logo that she hides. But she gets high marks for clarity in her messaging. And she's got a big following because she posts and she consistently posts. I suspect that she just needs to update her LinkedIn banner and look over her website to do a refresh. She's a good example of a strong beginner. She's been at it for 3 years. Like I said, she's got a good following. She has a newsletter. No book deal yet or articles published in Forbes, no TED Talk, but soon, I hunch, she will have our next essential, and that is credibility. This one seems obvious, but it's where a lot of businesses slip. Credibility is delivering on the expectation your brand sets. If your website says, we answer every email within 24 hours, but you take 3 days, you're breaking your brand promise. We live in the era of Yelp and reviews and testimonials and recommendations. If you have a great experience with a customer, don't be shy about asking them for a testimonial for your website or a recommendation for LinkedIn. Your brand isn't only what you say it is, it's also what people experience, and those experiences build your reputation. When we're just starting out, this one seems daunting and harder to show, but if you do the others right, consistency, clarity, and the next one I'm going to talk about, that helps you build your credibility. And remember what I said at the beginning, branding is long-term. You will get there if this matters to you. Okay, next one. And this one is my favorite, connection. Remember our data point at the beginning, the 70%, that most powerful brands make people feel something? So this could be joy, confidence, nostalgia, relief, belonging. And you don't have to be Nike or Apple to do this. There's a dog groomer I know who emails you a photo of your freshly groomed pup and a little note that says, thanks for trusting us with Teddy today. Does that cost them anything? No. Does it build a brand people love and talk about? Absolutely. Look for small ways to connect with your target audience. Your advantage as a small business or a personal brand is that you can be more personal, approachable, and human. Know why you started this business, what problem you solve, and what you stand for. You don't need a 5-page manifesto, just a clear, honest story you can share with people. Think back to Surrey. They took apart a toothbrush to see if they could make it better for us and the earth. Boom, very simple. What's your origin story? How did you get interested in this thing you do or you want to do? Okay, food for thought. All right, we're coming up on number 5. Commitment. Brands aren't built overnight. Consistency and clarity over time are what makes brands memorable. Don't forget to play the hits that made you famous. This is a quote from Stephanie. It's my favorite quote. The truth is, you might get tired of your own logo, tagline, or messaging long before your customers do, and that's normal. But when you stay committed to your brand, you build equity, meaning your marketing starts to work for you. I've seen big brands fall for this. Look at HBO or whatever they're calling themselves now. Tropicana made this mistake. And if you're tracking the story of Cracker Barrel, their rebrand lost them millions. And last I heard, they had to change it all back because their target audience was so upset. So again, don't confuse your customers. Quick tip. Before you rebrand because you're bored, ask yourself, are my customers bored? Or am I just ready for something new? 9 times out of 10, it's the latter. One caveat. Brands do evolve as they grow, and it's okay to revisit your visuals, your voice, your positioning as your company grows and ask, does this still represent who I am, what I bring to the world, my value? Think about how Apple logos have evolved over the years. But are we confused? Have they brought us along every step along the way of their journey? I would argue yes. We all know when it's an Apple logo. All right, those are your 5 brand essentials: clarity, consistency, credibility, connection, and commitment. If you focus on these, you're already ahead of 80% of small businesses out there. And the best part, you don't need a huge budget to nail these. You just need focus, and nobody's perfect. Think of this as practice and refining long term. Okay, we get another example here. Simon Sinek, motivational speaker and best-selling author. Simon only has one goal, and it's a big one: to inspire people to do things they love so that all of us can change the world for the better. He discovered remarkable patterns in how great leaders and organizations think, act, and communicate, and imparts this knowledge to his followers. His TED Talk in 2009 about the concept of why is the 3rd most watched video on TED.com with over 40 million views. He knows what his message is and can articulate that to his audience. By nailing his why, Simon can sell his vision and not just his products. So messaging, look and feel, consistency, clarity, nailed it. That's his website on the left, LinkedIn on the right. They match up. Founded his company in 2008, so he's got commitment. Published 5 books, some of them New York Times bestsellers, lends credibility. So I'm offering him as an example of what good looks like. And I hope you notice that that takes time. It's not overnight. Okay, I'm going to pause here for a minute, take a breath, and we're heading into the wrap up with some things that we can do today, this week, this month, to start leveling up your own brand. Nothing big, no giant rebrands, no big budgets, just some small tweaks and some smart tweaks that can make a difference. Okay. So first, audit your touch points. By doing a quick brand consistency check, and by this I mean pull up everything with your business name on it, your website, your social media profiles, your email signature, your business cards, signage, if you have, whatever you have, just pull it up and look at it all and ask. You're just asking, are my logo, colors, and fonts consistent? Do my profiles and messaging sound like the same person? Would a customer immediately recognize it's me across these different platforms? Okay, and that's a big enough task right there. Just looking at it all, pulling it up and asking, am I consistent across these? Okay, so that's number one, if you want to try that. Number two, pick 3 adjectives you want people to associate with your business, your personal brand. Friendly, sophisticated, approachable, reliable, bold, and write them down. Keep these nearby so you can see them when you're drafting materials and interacting. Use these 3 adjectives as a gut check for everything you post, print, or send out moving forward. And here's an example. I worked with a local client who chose joyful, easygoing, and personal. And we would use those as a filter for her messaging, her visuals, even how she answered emails. And she noticed that it made decisions so much easier. It becomes a great connection filter. And if you guys are into this one, I brought along a whole page of adjectives that we could play with if there's time after the Q&A. But keep that in the back of your minds and I'll just check in after. Okay, here's another one, number 3. Pick one small thing to update this week, this month, for better brand consistency. And this links back to that audit you might have done in that first bullet. So here's some suggestions. Update your email signature so it matches your brand fonts and colors. Clean up your Instagram or LinkedIn bio to reflect your brand voice. This one's my favorite. Replace a tired business card or flyer with something on brand. You know those business cards you did in 1997 and you keep pulling them out and scratching out your phone number, scratching out your website, saying, that's old. Here's my new one. I did that for years. I'm just saying, I'm not poking fingers. I'm putting that right back on myself. I did that for years, but that's a good one. Not too expensive to update and put yourself on brand. And then last one, rewrite the about section on your website to sound more like you. Okay, so those are some suggestions on that one. And finally, seek inspiration. This last one is a little bit more woo-woo and may take longer than a day or a week, but I strongly believe in visualizing where you want to go in order to get there. So sometimes this can mean seeing someone else do what you want to do. What can you learn from them? How can you take what they're doing and apply it to your brand? We don't exist in a vacuum. Remember to look at your service through the eyes of your target audience. If you are looking at the website or LinkedIn page of someone who does what you do or what you want to do, why would someone choose you over them? Okay, so those are just some ideas to get you started this week. And to give us a kickstart, I will leave you with John Morrow and his personal brand presence because he inspires me and others. And you can drop a yes in the chat box if you guys already know him. when I was researching examples for this webinar and I found those others, I discovered John, and he consistently shows up on the top 20 list for personal brands. He's up there with Simon, Oprah, Brene Brown. And he is a rebel because he built his brand without his name or colors or logos, but he is still recognized by his voice, his message, and his writings. John Morrow is of smartblogger.com, has built his reputation as one of the most successful bloggers online. He was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy as a child. He found success while working for Copyblogger. And then from this, he built his own site, now called Smart Blogger. And that site and the various courses he runs bring him, it says, according to the web, 6 figures a month. And according to LinkedIn, he is now a consultant and only works on projects that inspire him. So I'll leave you with him as a final example of good branding. And his story is a really powerful one if you're into it. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope that you all took away from this what all your next steps are. I look forward to hearing your success stories, and just good luck to you all out there. Thanks for having me.
This webinar has been hosted by the Empower Network nonprofit, a community of disabled and chronically ill people navigating employment and entrepreneurship together. Membership is $10 a month, and scholarships are available by application. If you'd like to get involved, please sign up for the newsletter and/or join us as a member today.